A father's resolve is a powerful thing. It can drive a man to great lengths to protect, to defend, and to seek justice for his family. This is Thomas's story. In the quiet of their home, Thomas sat lost in thought while Jade scrolled through her phone. Jade, Catherine, Jade, wait, what? Thomas glanced at Jade, his curiosity piqued. Jade, he's back? Jade, Dad's here. Catherine, Vio, I lied before. I said it was my parents because they weren't stopping it. But it wasn't them. Catherine's voice was shaky. Catherine, Vio, it was my mum's brother the whole time. Jade, what? Catherine, Vio, I'm sorry, they didn't stop it, so I thought that made them just as guilty, but I was scared because if you knew it was him, I knew what you'd do. Jade's stomach turned and Thomas heard every word. Jade lowered the phone slowly, looking up at her father. Jade, Dad, Thomas, get your coat. Jade, Dad, Thomas, I said get your coat. Jade didn't argue. When they arrived, the house was tense. The front door was slightly open. Catherine's parents had been watching from the window. Mark, Catherine's father, stood in the hallway, his shoulders hunched. His wife was behind him, clutching her arms. Thomas stepped inside without hesitation, his presence filling the room. Mark, Thomas, listen, Thomas, you let your daughter suffer for 4 years. You stood there and did nothing. And now I find out it wasn't you, that you let another man do it, your wife's own brother? Mark clenched his jaw, his eyes darting away. His wife choked back a sob. Mark, I didn't know how to tell you. I was ashamed, embarrassed, scared. Thomas, scared? Mark flinched. Thomas, you were afraid of me, so you said nothing, but more than that, you were afraid of him. And because of your fear, your own daughter paid the price. Mark shut his eyes. He had no defense. Jade exhaled beside him, shaking her head. She wanted to be angry, but all she felt was sick. Where is he? Mark hesitated. Where is he? Mark swallowed and nodded toward the back of the house. Thomas didn't wait. Thomas pushed the door open. The dimly lit room smelled of sweat and stale alcohol. And there he was, Catherine's uncle, the man who had spent years hurting an innocent girl while the family cowered in silence. Uncle? And who the hell are you? Thomas didn't answer. Uncle? Oh, I see what this is. You're here to play hero, huh? Teach me a lesson? You don't scare me. Thomas still didn't speak. Uncle? Yeah, that's what I thought. Now do yourself a favor. Turn around, get back in your car, and then he lunged. He barely moved a foot before Thomas had his arm twisted behind his back. There was no wasted motion, no struggle, just raw, controlled power. Uncle, you bastard! Thomas, you were saying. Uncle, you bastard! Thomas, I could break this arm right now and be home in time for a cup of tea. Uncle, you bastard! Thomas, yeah, that's what I thought. Then he let go. The uncle stumbled forward, rubbing his shoulder, eyes wild. Uncle, you think that scares me? You think, Thomas, pack your things. Uncle, what? Thomas, you're leaving, now. Uncle, like hell I am. Thomas, you don't have a choice. For the first time, the uncle hesitated. Thomas, because if you stay in this house one more night, I won't be back to warn you again. Something about the way he said it, calm, unshaken, absolute, made the uncle freeze. Without another word, he grabbed an old duffel bag and started throwing his clothes inside. His hands were shaking. Thomas stood in the doorway, arms crossed, watching. Jade appeared beside him, eyes locked on the scene. Thomas grabbed him by the back of the shirt and walked him to the door. Catherine's parents stood frozen, watching as the man who had tormented their daughter was escorted out of their house like garbage. Thomas, keep walking. The uncle hesitated. Then, realizing he had no other option, he turned and disappeared into the night. The house was silent. Thomas, this doesn't happen again. Do you understand me? Mark nodded quickly. His wife just sobbed. Jade stood there, taking it all in. Thomas, I know you were scared of what I might do, but I told you I'm not that man anymore. Jade, I know. Thomas, let's go home. Jade followed, and for the first time in 4 years, Catherine's house felt clean, felt safe. Everything was quiet. Everything was right. End.